In the last tutorial video, we learned how to install Python in our computer, and also we saw how to use VS Code for writing and running our Python scripts. In this tutorial video, we are going to see how to create a Python project. You can see I have opened an empty folder which is tutorials in my VS Code, and we are going to create our Python project inside this folder. Before creating a Python project, we should first know about virtual environment. A virtual environment is an isolated folder in your computer that holds its own Python interpreter and independent set of installed packages. When you create Python projects without a virtual environment, the version of a Python package in a project may conflict with the other version of the same package in another project, as they both are in the same global environment. To overcome this, we use virtual environments where we use same packages with different versions in different projects. So this helps us to isolate the project dependencies and avoid version conflicts, helping to share our Python projects easily. So now we have a basic idea about virtual environments, and also we know why they are needed in our Python project. Now let's create a virtual environment. For that, let's go to our terminal. Before going to the terminal, make sure you're using command prompt for this. If you're not using command prompt, then simply click on this drop down and click on command prompt. This is going to open you a new terminal with command prompt in it. To create a virtual environment, we are going to use the command python -m venv, which is virtual environment. And then we are going to name our virtual environment. In most of the cases, you can name it whatever you want. It is completely your wish. But in professional terms, we use .venv for creating a virtual environment and hit enter. Once you click enter, you can see our virtual environment being created over here inside our project folder. If you expand this, you can see the subfolders inside it, which contain the scripts, libraries, and dependencies. Right now it's empty because we have only this pip inside it. Once we install the dependencies, you can see them listed over here. And these are the things which are present inside our virtual environment folder. After creating a virtual environment, we should activate it. For that, we just have to run the activate.bat file, which is inside our scripts folder, and again which is present inside our virtual environment folder. To run that activation script, you just have to mention its path in our command prompt. So the path is going to be .venv. Make sure you use /scripts/activate and hit enter. You can now see our environment has been activated in our command prompt. So this is how you activate a virtual environment in Python. Now let's create a Python file, app.py. Let's try to import NumPy. NumPy is nothing but a Python package which we use in most of the machine learning and AI related projects. As of now, let's not go deeper into this. Since this is a beginner's tutorial, I wanted to show how things work. So I'm just importing it. We'll look into that later. And let's print something like, let's print NumPy in our main file. Make sure you save the file. And then we'll run this. So you can see we are getting an error over here, which is module not found error, which says no module named NumPy. So this means that NumPy is not present in our virtual environment. You can simply add any module into your virtual environment using the pip command. Pip is nothing but the inbuilt Python package manager, which gets installed along with Python in your computer. So you don't have to install it manually. To add our module into our virtual environment, let's type pip install NumPy. Make sure you run this command only when your virtual environment is activated, or else this NumPy module will get installed in our global environment. If you hit enter, pip is going to fetch NumPy package and it is going to install it in our virtual environment. And now let's close this main file and open it again, and we'll try to run it this time. You can see our script is running without any errors. This means that NumPy is installed in our virtual environment, and also you can import it and use it in your project. This can be done for all the modules which you need for your project. For example, you can even install pandas, and again this is going to install pandas in our virtual environment. And also you can import pandas anywhere in your Python file and use it for your project. If you want to list the Python packages that you are using in your project, you just have to use this command called pip list and hit enter. This is going to list the packages which are installed in your virtual environment. You can also see them inside your environment folder inside site packages. You can see NumPy, pandas, and other dependencies. So there must be a doubt popping in your head right now. We only installed pandas, NumPy, and pip, it is already installed by default. What about this other three packages? So these three packages, how did they get installed? In simple words, these three packages are the dependencies of the pandas package. I mean, these three packages are essential for running this pandas library. Now let's see how to remove a package from our Python project. For that you have to use this command pip uninstall and the name of your Python package. For now, let's remove our pandas package from our Python project. So I'm giving it pandas and hit enter. This will ask you for a confirmation. You just have to type Y and hit enter if you want to remove it, or else you can reverse the process by typing N and hitting enter. For removing, I'll just type Y and hit enter. You can see successfully pandas has been uninstalled from our virtual environment. If you now use the list command and list the packages, you can see pandas is removed, but the other three dependencies remain there. They remain as it is. Okay, so now let's clear our terminal. Now let's see how to create requirements file in our Python project. Requirements file is very important for a Python project. This file contains the list of dependencies which are needed to run that Python project. To create a requirements file, you just have to click on new file, type requirements, and the extension will be .txt and hit enter. So this is our requirements.txt file. This is where we list all our dependencies that are needed in our Python project. Let's say we have NumPy in our project, pandas, matplotlib, and so on. Let's say to run our Python project, we need all these three libraries. Libraries or package, both are same. You don't have to get confused with it. So Python developers, they simply list all the dependencies into this file and add this file into their Python project. So whenever a user or any other developer who wants to run this Python project, they can use this requirements text file and install all those dependencies into their virtual environment. So this makes it easy for them to set up a Python project. So to install the dependencies which are listed in our requirements file, we just have to use the command pip install -r and requirements.txt. Then hit enter. This is going to find all those packages from the internet and it's going to get it installed in your virtual environment. So you can see all those packages are installed. When you use the list command, you'll get to know what are the packages that are installed. Moving forward, let's say we don't have this requirements file in our Python project. Let's delete it. Let's say we don't have this requirements file in our project. You have your project finished and you want to create a requirements file for it. To create it, it's going to take a simple command, which is pip freeze. This command is going to give the list of dependencies that are being used in your project. To put all those dependencies inside a requirements file, you just have to use pip freeze right arrow requirements .txt and hit enter. This is going to create requirements text file and also it is going to put all those dependencies into it. So this is how simple it is to create a requirements file for your Python project. So these are the things which are present in a Python project, virtual environment, requirements file, and obviously the scripts which you're going to run in your project. This is a older way of setting up a Python project. In modern ways, we use something called UV, which is again a Python package manager, but it is faster than pip comparatively. So now I'll show you how to use UV to create a Python project. For that, let's delete all these files and let's open a new terminal. Unlike pip, UV has to be installed manually. You can simply install UV using pip command, or else you can open your browser, search for UV Python and open this link. This will take you to the UV documentation. If you have time, you can refer these docs and learn more about UV. But now let's go to installation. Installing UV. You can see you can install it for Mac, Linux and Windows. Click on Windows and here you can see the command which you have to use in order to install UV in your system. You can just copy it, open PowerShell and paste it over here and hit enter. This is going to get UV from internet and it will install it in our computer. Once you see everything's installed, you can verify it by typing the command UV version. So this is going to give you the current version of UV, which also verifies that we have completely installed UV successfully in our computer. Let's close this now. I am in the same tutorials folder in our VS Code. In order to create a Python project, we have to first create a virtual environment. But if you're using UV, you have to initialize the project first. For that, we'll be using the command UV init. This is going to initialize the Python project called tutorials, which is obviously the name of the folder which I have opened. And inside it, you can see the source folder. We have the Python version file, which contains the version of our Python project. In some cases, you have to use a different Python version for running different packages, which are only supported by that version. And in that case, this will be very helpful for that. You can also see pyproject.tom file, which contains the details of your Python project, the name of your Python project, version of your Python project, description. You can edit it over here. And also it contains your name, the email, dependencies. This is more similar to the requirements file which we created using pip. And also we have a readme markdown file for documenting our project. So these files will be automatically generated when you initialize a Python project using UV. This command only initializes the project, but we have to create virtual environment on our own. To create a virtual environment, you just have to type UV venv and hit enter. This is going to create a virtual environment for this project. It is automatically going to name it .venv, and also it is going to give you the command which is needed to activate that environment. You just have to copy and paste it over here to activate your virtual environment. See how simple it is. Compared to pip, UV is going to make it very simple to set up a Python project. So that is why modern Python developers prefer UV over pip. Now let's see how to add packages into our project. Similar to what we did using pip, we are going to use the command UV add and the name of the package. Let's use NumPy for this example. And you can see how fast it was. It just took 150 milliseconds to add NumPy into our project. So you can see how fast it is compared to pip. And this is also a major advantage for developers using UV over pip. Let's add some more packages like pandas, matplotlib, and hit enter. So this UV is going to install packages very fast compared to pip. The best part about using UV is you just have to use only one command to set up an entire Python project. So this is a major advantage for developers using UV, and I'll just show you how. Okay, I'll just delete our environment. Let's say we have only these files in our Python project. these projects will contain all those dependencies that are needed to run this, like pandas, numpy, matplotlib, and many more. To set up all this using just one command, we are going to use uvsync. This is going to create a new environment and going to add all those packages which are needed for this into our environment. Once you hit enter, you can see it creating a virtual environment and also added all those dependencies into it. This is a major advantage of using UV. You have to use just one command to set up an entire project. And again, to remove a package, it is very simple. You can just use UV remove pandas and hit enter. This is going to remove pandas, and it is going to also remove all those files which are not required after uninstalling pandas. You can see it in our pyproject.tom. So this is how simple it is to set up a Python project using UV. But wait, here comes the best part. You can run pip commands using UV. If in case you don't have any of these files, you only have requirements. In this case, we don't have it here. Let's create one. We are going to use pip using UV and freeze all the dependencies that are needed into our requirements file. This is going to create a requirements file and all our dependencies are added over here. This will also give the path of our environment inside this. You can also use pip's install command using UV, like UV pip install pandas and hit enter. This is going to install pandas using again UV, and you can add it into our requirements. You can see our requirements file now has pandas in it. Once you finish working on your Python project, you can simply deactivate the environment. For that, you can simply use deactivate command. This is going to deactivate the virtual environment and go back to the default one. So this is how simple it is to set up a Python project. You can use both the ways which I have taught you in this tutorial for setting up a Python project. In this tutorial video, we have learned what is virtual environment, how to create and use it, how to use Python package manager, which is pip and UV for creating and setting up our Python project. In the next tutorial, we'll see the basic rules for writing a Python program, that is the syntax of writing a Python program. Until then, keep coding and keep practicing and keep watching Simply Yahya. Bye.